Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. Shall we start here on the daily? Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger. Check, check. Nope, not that one. Why are we doing this? Check, check. Are we on the right mic? I don't think so. Not sure why my microphone is doing this. Sorry. Let's see if we can get our audio set up corrected here. Nice. Are you guys hearing me through this microphone or through my... I think we might be hearing us through the wrong microphone. Anyway, you guys tell me. Hey guys, and welcome to the Coffee and Crypto live stream. My name is Jeb McAfee. I am your host today, and today we're going to be talking about the massive rally that is starting right now on Bitcoin. Hopefully you guys can hear the correct mic. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to do some tests after the stream. Let's just take it from the top. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the massive rally that is going on right now on Bitcoin. At 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time last night, Bitcoin topped over $107,000. We are now only approximately 3% away from the previous all-time high of $109,000 set on Inauguration Day. Unfortunately, Bitcoin was disappointed when Trump was inaugurated because a lot of people foolishly thought, as we said they thought, that Bitcoin was going to get a strategic Bitcoin reserve on day one. That didn't materialize. Naturally, the Trump administration has a lot of things that it's focusing on, so that didn't happen the way that people thought it would. And so the FUD from that led Bitcoin into a very well-timed, largely productive drop down to $73,800. We've been telling you over the course of the year that Bitcoin was going to backtest the previous all-time high at 73.8 and that we'd be buying if we got down there. We did drop down there, and we have been buying a lot of Bitcoin, and we're very excited about this next leg up because I'm quite confident that Bitcoin is about to break through $109,000, or we're going to drop down to 84. Who's right, the bulls or the bears? We're going to be breaking down that conversation today, and we're going to be coming to a conclusion of our own about where we think Bitcoin is going next so that we can make informed investment decisions around the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. As I said, my name is Jeb McAfee. I'm your host. I do apologize for being a few hours late today. Today is, unfortunately, the second month anniversary of the day that we lost our son on March 19th. So it has been a very difficult day, but I wanted to make sure that we got some content here to you today because it's very important to me that I'm consistent in bringing you guys high quality educational content. I appreciate your understanding on that matter, and we'll be back at the regularly scheduled time tomorrow. Let's go ahead and read some chat. I think you guys are probably hearing from the wrong microphone. I will correct that after the stream, but I don't want to interrupt us anymore. So apologies if we're having some kind of tinny audio going on right now. Not sure what's going on with my setup. Nothing has changed, but I will work on fixing that this afternoon. Philly Skills 1428 is in chat. Kryptoni, Eric, Chris is in chat. Iron Hooligans is in chat. Kathy's in chat. Jody, Quarantine, the Crypto Realtors in chat. Crypto Carter, Eric is in chat. I really appreciate all of you guys for being here today. We don't have a lot of time because we have something that we're going to have to go do here pretty soon, but we've got to talk about Bitcoin, so we are going to do some rapid fire cryptocurrency analysis today. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at $105,448, which is a major rally over just the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, on May the 4th, we saw Bitcoin trading at the low price of $96,000. In the last 2 weeks, Bitcoin has added over $150 billion worth of market capitalization. The cryptocurrency space in general has added over $300 billion worth of market capitalization. We're going to start with the fundamentals, then we're going to look at the chart, then we're going to understand where we're going next. So grab your coffee. let's get started. First things first, fundamentally, there are three major groups of people that are buying Bitcoin hand over fist right now that is going to lead to a massive supply shock, which will lead us to new all-time highs later on this cycle. The first group of people are companies. MicroStrategy, now Strategy, run by Michael Saylor, is one of the most successful companies in this century as far as stock returns. MicroStrategy was trading at pennies and dollars 10 years ago before adopting a Bitcoin strategy. They have seen a over 100x market capitalization run, rivaling NVIDIA ever since they adopted their Bitcoin strategy. And because of their success, a number of copycats have come about. For example, we've got Nakamoto, we've got 21, we've got all kinds of different companies. We've even got over 13 different state pension funds in the United States that now own MicroStrategy shares. So in a sense, they intentionally own a piece of the Bitcoin network. Even though they don't have Bitcoin strategic reserves yet, although they will, they own Bitcoin through the holding of MicroStrategy. Bitcoin is reaching mass adoption right now, and a large part of that is being driven by corporations. That's number one. I'm going to circle back to those corporations because there's a bit of a caveat there, and there's something that you need to be worried about. Number two, we're seeing nation states. We have all kinds of insider information being thrown at us that the United States is about to pass a stablecoin bill, and we also have all kinds of insider information that the United States is about to begin acquiring Bitcoin by selling gold reserves. And if we can get the Bitcoin legislation passed for a Bitcoin strategic reserve, the United States federal government will be buying Bitcoin hand over foot to acquire a total of 1 million Bitcoin. We more or less have confirmation that all of these things are occurring. Now, the third group that is acquiring Bitcoin hand over foot right now, and we'll talk about some more of the specific numbers in a moment, that group would be none other than the retail. Luckily, some members of the retail, not all, but a portion of the retail is acquiring Bitcoin through products such as the Bitcoin exchange traded funds. BlackRock is now one of the largest holders of Bitcoin through their Bitcoin IBIT ETF. They hold 650,000 Bitcoin for their clients. Now remember, that's not BlackRock themselves holdings. That's a separate matter, and they have tens of thousands of their own Bitcoin that actually belongs to them. They're not managing, they actually own. But they manage 650,000 Bitcoin on that ETF alone. That is not including Fidelity's ETF. That is not including the other 10 or so Bitcoin ETFs. Cumulatively, they've acquired almost 1 million Bitcoin in the span of 14 months. That is 8x the amount of Bitcoin, about 6x the amount of Bitcoin that's been created since those ETFs came online. Since those ETFs came online, the Bitcoin network has produced a little under 200,000 Bitcoin. We've seen over 1 million Bitcoin taken out of circulation, put into ETFs in long-term holdings, many of which have been bought in 401ks and Roth IRAs for long-term holding. As we've seen this occur, we've watched the balance sheet of the major exchange players in the cryptocurrency space crash. We've seen a massive amount of Bitcoin taken off exchanges. The amount of Bitcoin on exchanges has dropped from a little over 3 million to now about 2.4 million. People are taking Bitcoin off of exchanges to the tune of thousands of Bitcoin per day. Many of those Bitcoin are going into long-term holdings, which will not be touched for years or decades, such as ours when we buy Bitcoin and put it in cold storage. They're not going anywhere for a very long time. Now, I want to circle back to those institutions because there's a very particular point I want to make here that is a warning to you. And that warning is this. These institutions that are buying Bitcoin are doing so to the benefit of the price, to the detriment of the retail. They're doing so to the benefit of the price, to the detriment of the retail. What do I mean by that? These institutions, when they buy Bitcoin, they have no intention of ever selling them. They are buying this Bitcoin, and it will be out of circulation more or less forever. They have no need of selling it. They have no need of selling the Bitcoin because they will take out loans against the Bitcoin for fiat, which they will then use to buy more Bitcoin, which is a finite currency. As Michael Saylor has said, the first country that prints their own money to buy a finite asset like Bitcoin wins. And that is exactly what he and these other companies are doing, and soon that is what these other companies and countries will be doing. You have to grasp the supply shock of this. You have to get this. What we are seeing right now is a complete decoupling from the way that money has always worked. You are having people, companies, and again, soon to be countries acquiring Bitcoin for the long term, and they have no incentive to sell it because they're better off taking a loan against it or issuing stock against it or printing a fiat currency against it. They have no incentive to sell. They don't need to sell to make money from the fact that they're holding it. Because when a company buys Bitcoin, their stock price goes up and they take the profits out of the stock instead of the Bitcoin balance sheet appreciating in value, which is what actually created the value. When an institution like MicroStrategy, 21, Nakamoto, all these other companies that you've seen, when they buy Bitcoin, they have no monetary incentive to sell the Bitcoin no matter what the Bitcoin price is. Metaplanet, another one. They have none. No strategic incentive at all to sell the Bitcoin. Why would they? They can take a loan against it in a fiat currency that is currently being debased at one of the fastest rates that we've ever seen in history. They can issue stock against it. And the countries, can issue a fiat currency to buy it. There's no reason for them to ever sell it. And there's a common argument against this. People say, oh, well, yeah, Bitcoin was designed as internet cash. It's supposed to be an electronic currency. So its primary use function is medium of exchange. Humbug. Humbug. Nonsense. I love exchanging in Bitcoin. In fact, we went to Steak and Shake yesterday on the way back from our trip to support Steak and Shake with them adopting Bitcoin. Did I pay for my double bacon cheeseburger, which by the way was delicious, and my beef tallow french fries? Did I pay for that in Bitcoin? Hell no. Of course I didn't. I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that? Now everybody's saying, you have to do it. It's for adoption. Whether or not I pay for Bitcoin at Steak and Shake, whether or not I pay for a double bacon cheeseburger at Steak and Shake with Bitcoin is not the thing that's going to drive the adoption of Bitcoin. Because its purpose, although it was written out in the white paper as an electronic cash, its actual discovered purpose is that of a store of value. That is its chief purpose. People say, what's the point of Bitcoin? It's a medium of exchange. The dollar is a better medium of exchange. In a lot of cases, yeah, it is easier to work in dollars. Not with large sums, but with small sums, yeah, it is actually easier to work in dollars. Or in stable coins. Or in other cryptocurrencies. But there is nothing that holds a candle to Bitcoin's store of value qualities. And so we've got to stop preaching the Bitcoin gospel of it's a perfect medium of exchange. It's better and it's worse in some. It's better and worse in some. When you're dealing with a $50 million real estate transaction, you don't want to have to deal with all the regulation and everything. Yeah, you can send the Bitcoins there in an hour, boom, you're done. Bitcoin is way easier in some situations. When you're buying a beef tallow hamburger, it's comparable. It's about the same. It's about the same. Can it be used as a medium of exchange, especially with Lightning Network? Yes, and it will. Is that the main selling point of Bitcoin? No. Bitcoin does not derive its value from being an alternative currency. Bitcoin derives its value from being the first truly finite financial asset in the history of mankind. And we have to sell Bitcoin we have to sell Bitcoin based on sell Bitcoin to prospective investors based on its absolute strongest characteristic, which is that it is the hardest money ever created in the history of the world. Circling back to that caveat I told you I was going to give you, hopefully you can follow my all over the place train of thought. Circling back to that caveat, the institutions that are buying Bitcoin know this. And so once that Bitcoin's gone, it's gone for good. And good and bad, it's good for the price. If you already hold Bitcoin, it's good for you because the price is going up. If you have not gotten into Bitcoin yet, it's not good for you because it leads us into an area where lower prices on Bitcoin become increasingly more impossible as the market rallies because of the insane institutional demand that Bitcoin is witnessing. We are about to see a supply shock like we have never seen in the history of our country. Over the next couple of years, you are going to see the kind of supply shock on Bitcoin that is unfathomable. You will see Bitcoin at $1 million within a decade conservatively, although I'm going to be honest with you, I am very tempted to call that 2030 to 2032. I'm very tempted to say within 5 to 7 years. I'm tempted to say 5 million by 2035. It is very possible because of the supply and demand characteristics that we are witnessing right here. This is uncharted territory, and we've never seen this before. So what the institutions are doing is good for you if you're doing it also. What they're doing is good for you if you are also, like us and like Strategy, building a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We buy Bitcoin every single day. We buy Bitcoin every single day, and then we buy more on top of that. I encourage you to do the same. because the currency that you're storing your wealth in, I don't care what it is, if it's issued by a government, it's losing value. You need to keep some liquidity in cash because Bitcoin can at times lose value faster than that fiat currency. I still recommend keeping 3 to 6 months of emergency funds, but we're kind of right there at that 3 months because I don't want to keep much cash in dollars right now. Jerome Powell's come out, almost basically said that 2.5% we're just going to have to get used to it instead of target 2. We have the debasement of the United States dollar ongoing. So we keep as much of our money safely as possible in Bitcoin because I genuinely and truly believe in Bitcoin, and I believe that you should too. Now, let's talk a little bit about the charts because obviously what's going on with Bitcoin today is hyper exciting, and we want to see whether it's going to keep up. So over the last couple of weeks, we have built this chart formation, this symmetrical triangle pattern. Bitcoin went on a major rally up from $93,000 up to $105,000, and then we entered into this bull flag. This bull flag was always going to break out, and we did see it break out. Bitcoin has held, very importantly, the uptrending level of support, broken the downtrending level of resistance 3 times, and we're currently above it as we speak. We are now building a rising trading channel here, which is important because we are also witnessing a daily chart MACD cross bearish coming into play right now. We want to see Bitcoin stay up here above $105,000 because recently on Sunday, as in yesterday, we saw the highest weekly chart close in history. We watched Bitcoin's weekly chart close at $106,000, inching just a couple of bucks higher than the previous highest close. If Bitcoin is able to get up here and around Sunday be trading at 109,000, we will once again have the highest close that we have seen. We are about to see a major amount of volatility. I think that much is obvious. The question now becomes which direction will it bring us? Before we talk about which direction it'll bring us, we have to first address the point that it doesn't really flipping matter which direction we go. The long-term trend is all but guaranteed. In the short term, if Bitcoin moves to the downside, I consider that the better option. I want Bitcoin to take a bigger correction here. I consider that to be the blessing. I consider that to be a blessing. I consider that to be the blessed direction that Bitcoin could go. It would be a corrective movement here. There's no indication, no reason to believe that a bear market would be starting right now with everything going on, other than the lack of retail interest. But that's honestly because the retail is getting screwed. Remember back to what we said about what the institutions are doing is not good for retail because retail is late and retail is going to miss the boat. Right? Retail not being here is not a sign that the bull market's not ongoing. Look to the people that know what they're doing. They are the people that you should be listening to, not retail. But I don't think that a drop down here would be a bear market. It'd be a double top, which Bitcoin would just have to break through, and that would mean that we spent pretty much all of 2025 in a giant bull flag, in a giant range, which means that when we break that range, it's going to be absolutely meteoric. Now, on the other hand, a break above $109,000 is also very possible. And with everything going on, I would not be surprised if it happened. Let's look at some of our longer-term perspectives. One point in the bearish favor would be the fact that we're seeing a bearish MACD cross right now. We really need to break out now or never. If in the next 2 weeks we do not break $109,000, I expect we will drop down to between $100,000 and $85,000, somewhere in that range. If in the next 2 weeks, therefore, Bitcoin does not break 109, then I believe it's overwhelmingly likely that we will backtest to at least 100K, if not as low as 85K. We break in the next 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, or we're going through a big correction because Bitcoin is just not really, if we've burned out and we need a corrective movement, then eventually it's just going to come. You can't just stay up here in limbo forever. Bitcoin has to choose. We also look at the RSI. We're kind of treading water here on the RSI. It's kind of looking like a corrective movement could be coming if we're not careful. All right. Now, let's also look at Lux Algo here. We've got Lux Algo, which is hyper bullish, and we also see the some support right here around $96,000. Once again, kind of same deal. If we break below $96,000, it becomes increasingly more difficult for us to make the case that Bitcoin's not going down to 85. If we do drop down to 85, once again, not something to be worried about. It leaves us an excellent buying opportunity, and in the long-term trend, it's nothing more than a blip on the radar, so don't get freaked out if we drop down to 85. In the short term, naturally, it's a 20% drop. It'd be freaky. You wouldn't like it. It wouldn't be good for your portfolio value, but in the long run, it allows you to get increased entry. So work on building that stack of cash as much as you can. Right now, you should be working on building a cash position. You should have already more or less finished your entries in the 70, 80, and 90 range, and you should be waiting for the decision of where Bitcoin's going next to happen. If we see Bitcoin break 100 above 109 with a ridiculous amount of exuberance, then I'm probably going to be buying 109, 110, 111. If we start dropping and we break down here below 100, if we break below $100,000, I'm waiting till we get down into the 80s, and then I'm acquiring some more. So our two scenarios are as follows, and this is what I will do regardless of which one happens. The first scenario is that in the next 2 weeks or so, Bitcoin breaks $109,000 with confidence. If Bitcoin breaks above $109,000, prior all-time high with confidence. I'm not talking about one of these meager little all-time high breaks. It breaks up to 110, sits there for 3 days. No, I'm talking about it's going parabolic. Then I'm going to start buying around 109, 110, 111, because if we break 109, you're probably not stopping until 125. And that'll probably be a pretty safe entry, because if we rally up to 125, then a drop back down to 109 is unlikely, which makes this a decent entry. It's basically a long trade, but for an investor. On the other hand, if Bitcoin, piddles around here for too long and we break below $100,000, then everything below $100,000 I will be buying on the way down. As we get lower, I'll be buying more. And then as we break to the upside, I'll be buying more until we get to about $100,000 once again. So I'm not really buying right here. This is more of a no trade zone where we are at the moment. I've deployed as much cash as I want to. I'm not buying a whole lot more here. We have a plan, whichever direction it goes. We have options to buy. This is a range where I'm doing nothing more than allowing my dollar cost average to run, and I am ensuring that we are stacking cash and building a cash reserve so that when a rally or when a crash happens, then we are ready to acquire more Bitcoin and move in the direction of a certain amount of coin that we are trying to gain, right? We have different goals. We're like, we want this much Bitcoin by this time, right? So we're going to read a little bit of chat. I am going to unfortunately have to go here a little bit early today. Apologies for being late. Like I said, if you saw the beginning of the stream, it's been a very difficult day. I appreciate your understanding, and we will be back at the regular time tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for bearing with us here. Most important thing to me is that we get you guys high quality educational, informational content that will teach you how to build your Bitcoin position, because one day it's going to be too late. One day Bitcoin is going to be doing 8 to 10, maybe 12%, just like the stock market. One day it's going to top out. One day it's going to do that. It's not going to go up 30% CAGR forever. It's just not going to. You will miss the boat if you wait too long. So it's our goal to help you get as big of a bag as you can so you don't miss the boat, because $1 million is more or less locked in at this point. All right. Let's read a little bit of chat, and then we're going to have to wrap it out. I appreciate all of you for being here. Triple Top has entered the chat. Yes, exactly. And that's where I'm saying, not buying right now. Not buying right now. I'm not interested in buying the top. Either it's not the top and we're going higher, in which case, fine, I'll buy the beginning of a rally. Or it is a triple top, and there ain't no way in hell I'm buying a triple top. Right? So I've done a lot of acquisitions. Our highest acquisition right now is 103. I'm not buying at 105. I bought it at 103. I'm not buying at 105. So we'll see. Now, I've been very aggressive on our acquisition so that I can have that decision, though. Been very aggressive. Very aggressive. Let's read a little bit of chat. $85,000 is not even 20% above the last cycle's top. Adjusted for inflation is 0%. Considering that the cycle top will come this year, it would not be good. I think it's healthy, right? Bitcoin is going through a very healthy amount of rally right now. We are building the largest bull market that Bitcoin has ever witnessed, with all of this Bitcoin going into long-term custody. And those are, when you make a wise decision, one thing you have to remember about wise decisions is that oftentimes, and when the market makes wise decisions, is that oftentimes the positive effects of those wise decisions are not felt for days, weeks, months, or years later. And all of the acquisition that's going on by yours truly, by you guys, by the institutions, is going to be extremely good for Bitcoin as time goes on. Yes, it is only time in history. It's the only time in history the working class can so easily become rich through holding Bitcoin, but the opportunity won't last long. That's right, Paul Clinton. It's gonna pass. It won't be here anymore. I mean, you guys have the ability to go make $10 million right now. Just about any of you with an internet connection and a $50,000 a year income. Live on rice and beans. Let's pull out some Dave Ramsey logic, right? He's wrong on Bitcoin. Let's just use him because that's kind of funny. Pull out some rice and beans. Live on nothing for 2 years. Stack Bitcoin for 2 years. Enjoy your life a little bit, but buy Bitcoin. It's the fastest horse, as people say. It is. And there will be a bear market, and it will take all of us by surprise, and it will come when we least expect it. It'll come like a thief in the night. And those of us that are following the financial sovereignty way will be sitting on a pile of cash so that when it drops, we're just buying. And I'll be leading you through that as we go. Long time no see, Jeb. Yep, we're back. We're back. Sorry again for your loss, Jeb. Blessings to you and your family. Thank you, Justin. I do appreciate it. Retail is sleeping. They sure are. They'll be here. They'll get here eventually. And they'll get here too late, and they'll miss the boat. And it'll be real sad. Blessings, Jeb. Thank you. Is 1 BTC the goal? I think everyone should try to get to 1 Bitcoin. I think everyone should try and get as much as they can. You know, 1 Bitcoin is a very good feeling. It's it's something that every one of you should aspire to, in my opinion. But you also must understand that you have to aspire to a totally financially healthy portfolio, which means that we're avoiding a bunch of high interest stupid debt. We have some savings. You don't have to have 3 years of expenses in savings, but you should have 3 to 6 months in cash savings. And you should have a budget. You should be generous. You should save and invest. And we should follow the laws of money. It's very important. Fensov, yes, absolutely. Always glad to see you back, Jeb. Hi, yes, we're back. Looking forward to it. Guys, I'm going to have to wrap it out. Like I said, sorry about the video being a little bit late today, and sorry about having to leave. But we will be back at the regularly scheduled time tomorrow, hopefully. And I am looking forward to seeing you guys there. Stay tuned. More videos are coming. I'm going to try and shoot a phone video today or tomorrow. Start getting some video content coming back out on the channel. Check us out on Twitter, _ coffee and crypto _ on X. You can find that in the link in the description box down below, or just by Googling it. I'm very active over on Twitter, over on X, so check that out. Stay tuned, because I think some major volatility is coming to Bitcoin. And also, if you guys have not already, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo with the link in the description box down below. Excellent indicator package that helps us to understand where Bitcoin is going next. Proudly a partner with them, and I love Lux Algo. I use it in my own analysis all the time, even off camera. It's a great indicator, and I'm looking forward to continuing that partnership. So make sure to sign up for Lux Algo, going to luxalgo.com /Jeb, or by going to luxalgo.com, signing up for the premium version of Lux Algo, and using our coupon code JEB, J-E-B-B, for 20% off at checkout. I really appreciate all of you for being here. And before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.